Alrighty, in this video we're going to talk about how to do revert back or revert uncommitted changes from your repo, and then we'll just talk briefly about some of the other undo commands that are there. After that, we'll talk about how to reassociate or associate your repository with different NSF files. So we've actually got the repo it's already connected to this NSF. We're all committed. Everything's all pushed, I believe. And so let's make a quick change here in one of the X pages, and we'll say, okay, great. So we made some changes. Now, at that point, the repo does exactly what it's supposed to do. It records the fact that there's been a change, and sure enough, it says it's the test XSP. Nothing new there. So at this point, we know that we normally would commit the change and push whenever we decided to. But let's just say we're thinking, oh man, rats, we don't really want to keep that change in our NSF, and so we've already discussed the fact that you can use the history to go back, but unfortunately in this case you've got uncommitted changes, and it's not going to allow you to move back and forth inside the history if you've got uncommitted changes. So the revert command allows you to basically discard changes, uncommitted changes that have not been committed to your repo. So if you do team revert, then you'll get this nifty little box, and it'll say, hey, you select the items that you want to revert back to, basically remove the fact that they've been changed, and click OK, and we will revert those back to the version or the way they were before. So sure enough, it just reverted test XSP right back to the way it was. There are some other commands, and I want to just briefly mention these. So rollback basically allows you to roll back one revision. So we're on revision 28. So if you see up here, we're on 28. Rollback would basically take us back to 27, and then it stops there. So rollback's one revision. And I'll be totally upfront with you guys about this. I have never ever used any of these commands in real life. So my opinion on them is, if you get to the point where you're going to need these, you're basically going to be like a source control ninja. Back out and strip basically are variations of sort of a same theme. They describe what they do right up here. With back out, you can reverse changes that have been committed earlier, and then you basically say, hey, I want to back out from those changes. I believe that the commit message here that basically would just do it's sort of like a revert after it's already been changed. That's my guess. The other one is a strip. So strip, the description here says that it will actually remove a revision and all of the descendants from that. So basically that's like a way to actually just totally obliterate the fact that you made a change set. I believe that still gets set in as a change in the repo. But again, in real life, the big one is the revert, and again, if you need to use the other ones, you probably are well down the path of being just a source control major dude or dudette. So the other topic I wanted to talk about is the fact that you can reassociate and disassociate your repo with various NSFs. So just one thing to point out. Here I am in my designer. I go ahead and I remove my NSF from the workspace here. I go back, and sure enough, my repo has no idea. It basically is disconnected now from the NSF. If I basically go back over here and reopen it, let's go to repo demo right here. Now that was the database that it was associated with to begin with. I go back in here, it's not really connected. So that's just something you just need to be aware of. If you have these repo projects in there and you remove the associated NSF, well, then it's going to say, hey, I don't have anything to associate with now. The good news is you can reassociate these things at will. So if you right click on the repo, you can go to team development, and you can say associate with an existing NSF. You can pick the NSF that you want to associate the repo with, and then you have a choice here. You can either take the code that's in the NSF and dump it into the repo, or you can take the code that's in the repo and dump it into the NSF. In our case, we know that they're basically the same. So we're going to say, okay, it's going to take all the code in the repo and dump it into the NSF, and now it's all connected and life's good. Cool. You can also disassociate. So here I'm going to say remove source control association. It's going to ask me if I'm for sure. So it removed it, disconnected it, it updated the project document. That actually is a valid change. So we're going to say disconnected source control management. And what the heck, we'll just push. In addition, you can reassociate it. So if I did team, I could associate with existing like I did before. But you can also take your repo and make a brand new NSF out of it. So in this case, I'm going to say new demo repo, and it's going to make a brand new database from scratch. Take all the repo code, dump that into the new NSF, and again, it's going to update the project setting. And then I'm going to go ahead and commit. I'm going to say, well, we'll say associated with brand new NSF. Great. So I'm going to go back in here. I'm actually going to remove the new repo. And we're back to where we started. So that's pretty much the deal. I mean, if you need to change your repo and connect it to another database, you do that through your team menu. And again, you have to decide whether or not you're going to pull the code from the repo and put it into the NSF, or the other way around. Next up, we'll talk about source control strategy.